Friday for Southern Ash on stage and cold, delicious oysters at the barn at T-Bone Steakhouse and Grill, Highway 80, Ladonia Square, Phoenix City.
Attorney advertised. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome, and each person's recovery depends on facts and laws of each client's case.
They say dog fighting is illegal. I beg to differ. I know a dog when he fight is legal. He be biting these insurance companies, demanding what he want, telling them if he don't get it, he's gonna bite him. His name is Top Dog from Top Dog Law. He be taking your accident and turning it into money. He be getting top dollar. That's a lot of money. All from an accident, that's a lot of money. He could change your life. I've seen him do it. Seen him take nothing and turn it into something. Follow him on Instagram at Top Dog Law. It's TopDogLaw.com.
Hey, y'all, it's riding season at Rally Point Harley-Davidson. And have you heard the news? We're now open 7 days a week. Our showroom is loaded with over 200 new and used Harleys, and our new general manager is hungry to move metal. Now's the time to get that Harley you know you want. Rally Point Harley-Davidson in Columbus, Georgia, home of the free tire install. Rally Point Harley-Davidson, now open 7 days a week.
Welcome back to Visions Now, your supper club right here on 92.1 Smooth R&B. And we have the second representative for the council seat. Is it 10? Is that
yes,
right?
10.
10.
Yes.
Okay, and it's citywide. And I always say that's almost mayor status. I mean, because the mayor runs citywide.
The whole
right?
city.
That's right, the whole city.
Right.
And of course, we have with us today Mr. Travis Chambers. And it's always a pleasure to have Travis with us, a long-time businessman, very, very proud of him. I mean, he's certainly taken a page out of the traditional Black Wall Street, as a businessman and creating opportunities. And this I guess you have worked. I guess you have worked for somebody else, but you still working self-employed all the while, right?
I'm still a small business owner.
You were like me. Like I said, I've had other contracts for my business. Some people might call it just a job for them, but it's a contract for me, right?
Right.
So again, okay. So first of all, again, just to remind everybody that our mission is the New Era Coalition. Of course, you're not a stranger. You've been there with us from the beginning to prevent community gun violence among our youth and provide and facilitate more positive activities and alternatives for them. In other words, we can't just tell children, you're doing bad, stop doing bad. We got to provide a path for them to do good.
That's right.
And so everything that we have here is geared around that. And so I'm not going to take up any more time other than saying, again, welcome to our first People's Platform Forum by the New Era Coalition. And this is a movement, not a moment.
That's right.
And so we welcome you to, in case everybody who attended, we assume that they are part of a New Era Coalition. So therefore, there's no membership. It's just word honor. Right. Now there's several issues here, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to just say whatever you want to say, and then we'll get into a few of the questions as to where you stand in terms of the positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
right.
positions that we have here. I want to give you a chance to reflect on those. So who is Travis Chambers, and why are you running?
Let me say good evening, and thank you for allowing me to be here. And Dr. Hood, thank you for your servant leadership in our community. You've been serving this community for so many years. I am Travis Chambers, and I'm running for City Council at large, District 10. Born and raised right here in Columbus, Georgia. Went to Carver Elementary right off of 8th Street.
Me too. That's a special club, you know.
Right.
The Carver Elementary Club.
Right.
I mean, from first to the 12th grade.
Right.
And for me, so it's like that.
So went there and went to Rothschild Junior High, graduated from Kendrick High School, went on to Albany State University, HBCU, and received my bachelor's degree in business management, went on and got a master's in human resources. But when I received my bachelor's degree, I came back to Columbus because I wanted to make a difference in our community. And the first job, well, let me just back up. In the summers, when I was at Albany State University, I would work at the Urban League as a summer youth counselor. And what I would do is put our youth in positions, job opportunity, whether it was in recreation centers or any facilities, small businesses, but we would place our youth and give them employment opportunities for them to develop a skill. Then when I did that, I like you stated, I've been a small business owner for 25 years. I worked at Synovus Financial Corporation as the vice president of human resources, and currently working in a nonprofit today as senior vice president of HR. So I've been putting in the work. I've served on currently serving on the Development Authority, graduate from Leadership Georgia, graduate from Leadership Columbus. I serve on the board of directors for Columbus Technical College, which is very passionate to me. My campaign is built on 3 C's. It's continuous economic development, jobs, 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 a champion for public safety, and community collaboration. And I believe that jobs is the secret sauce that would deal with a lot of the issues that our youth are facing, or people in general.
First step.
Good paying jobs. I'm not talking about just minimum wage. I'm talking about above living wage. And then a champion for public safety, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our public safety have the resources that they need to be able to keep our families safe, to keep where we can continue to thrive as a community. So that is very critical. But what's most important is community collaboration. I believe that before you make any decision, you need to make sure that your stakeholders are engaged and you have community consensus. So those are my 3 C's. And I believe if we operate on those 3 C's, we will be able to continue to grow as a community. But I tell you one thing, I looked at the budget. The budget is $334 million. So I dissected the budget. $12 million of that goes towards parks, recreations, and culture. But if you take a deeper dive, only $1 million goes towards park services. And I grew up in Belvedere Park.
Right.
When my parents were working, my second home was Belvedere Park. And my recreation director was Miss Lightfoot, bless her soul. Right. But Miss Lightfoot made sure that we had constructive programs in place, made sure that we did our homework, had speakers to come in and speak to us about entrepreneurship or public speaking or how to dress for success. Those are the things that made a significant impact in my life. So I think we need to continue our youth programs. And I think that is very critical.
You know, I'm going to start with you, because everybody, we kind of doing a different vibe here. I want to start with you on that note, because one of the things is, you know, what we're saying, the 14 to 19-year-old, we need at least 2,000 after school job. We're not talking about no salaries. We're talking about at least a stipend to give an incentive to these young people. I go to many businesses and the young people don't know how to serve me. But I know, because they never, my thing is that let's start them at home.
Right.
In our own neighborhood, learn how. Then when they go in these other businesses, many times people say, well, we're going to hire them to go here and go to the government. They don't even know how to serve their neighbor.
I agree.
I'm trying to say, give them some stipend on how to have some vested interest in that. So my thing is this. I think that the Liberty Theater is a resource that we should not have level lost from the community. I'm saying that, and based upon what I've heard from the people that I've talked to, saying, what happened to the Liberty? Okay, what happened to the Liberty was that someone decided that the city would be better running the Liberty like they do all these other things, like Recreation Park and Recreation. I'm saying, why you want to do this? But my point is this. We want the Liberty to be reestablished with a community advisory board led by our ministerial community, where people would be voted on to go on there through the ministerial line. Now, the city can have representatives, but not manage and decide the program and what goes on at the Liberty. They don't do it at the Springer. They don't do it at the River St., but they take care of the facility.
Right.
And I'm not saying to say, Take care of the facility. Get us grants, but do not try to do the programming. Do not do the management. Let us, the community, determine the leadership of that facility.
And I agree wholeheartedly. And I looked at the Liberty, and that's a very
it's a crime prevention institution.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was for us.
And they've only allocated $1 million towards Liberty.
Yeah,
and I think we need to do and again, I think we need to kind of reevaluate that.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I want to go to another one. Another one is crime prevention.
Mm-hmm.
The crime prevention board that was established. First of all, it was established politically, and I know it's politics, but it don't have to be political because it's politics. My point is that my mind's running in different directions. What was I just saying?
The crime prevention.
Crime prevention.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It needs to be reorganized. We spend $6, $7, $8 million. Nobody can show you a person that done anything. So my point is this: I believe people are doing the best they can. I want to be perfectly clear, but they don't know how to do it any better. My only thing is that allow those of us with expertise to guide it. Everybody that's getting a grant from the crime prevention should be a part of this crime prevention coalition. Why are you gonna get yours over there? No, we got a fire going on, and why are you gonna take your hose over here? No, we need a fire truck. So in this case, my point is that we need to make sure that crime, that if you're gonna spend $1 million, let that go toward youth employment across the board. Now, if your organization get money to have some youth, I mean, I don't care who you put at the table, but they all need to be trained on how to do a coalition work against this gun violence, not just a slush fund whereby, well, you're a nice guy, so I'm gonna give it to you. I don't like Travis, so I'm not gonna give him any. No, it's room for everybody at the table,
right,
to deal with this problem.
No,
so what are you saying with reorganization of the crime prevention board?
I agree 100%. And I looked at the New Era Coalition, and and the things about the coalition is, I mean, they focus on approximately 8 different outreach programs. I mean, when you think about it, you got your health and wellness, you got your community, I mean, your culture, arts and recreation, you got your social justice outreach, your neighborhood associates outreach, your public information. I mean, I think it's a one-stop shop, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think there need to be some metrics in place, because
nobody's evaluating us, but nobody's evaluating.
But the thing about it, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but when you look at our homicides, we've had 16 homicides year to date.
Right.
And majority of our homicides are our young black men.
That's right.
Killing young black men.
Right.
I mean, so
fratricide.
So what better way to connect with the New Era Coalition and figure out, like you said, the 2,000 jobs. But
I'm put it where the problem is.
But I'll tell you this, the summer youth jobs, that's great. Right. But it need to be a year round.
That's right.
And I think small businesses need to be engaged in this process as well. And especially businesses that reside in that community.
That's right.
So I think that, if the city can't fund it, we have enough small businesses that can public-private partnerships that can fund these kids to be able to learn a job skill.
And our big position with the coalition is that if I spend money with you, I expect you to spend money with our youth.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so if you can't do that, well, we're gonna spend our money somewhere else.
That's right.
We're gonna give our dollars some sense.
Yeah. I agree.
So again, whatever's left on your heart, go on and wrap it on up here. We're gonna take another break, but I want to thank you for coming out today. And of course, and then one other thing I want to talk to you about. I think that Belvedere Park should be just like Britt David Park for us. I think we need to get it for $1, and we do it like the soccer field. You feel about what?
Well, I do want to add this. So I grew up in Belvedere Park,
right,
and I think those recreation centers are very critical. Right. Now I understand that they have 3 super centers, but this is the thing: everybody don't have
that's right
transportation. Kids don't have transportation to get to these facilities.
Right. So and they were designed to be feeders. See, all the local facilities were supposed to feed into the area super center. That's what it was supposed to. That was there when they were built.
Absolutely.
But again, somewhere along the line. But what is it? Why are you at this time?
So I tell you, I'm born and raised right here in Columbus, like I told you earlier. I have a vested interest in our city, And I have 3 young men, 3 boys that I raise. And I want to see Columbus continue to be a city, a vibrant city. But I also want to make sure that our youth have the resources that they need to be successful in our community. And I have not only worked in summer youth programs, but as a business owner for over 25, almost 30 years. I know what it takes to, you can say what you want to say, but small businesses are the nucleus. They are the enterprise. That's the engine of any type of economic development in Columbus, Georgia.
Who needs to get out to vote? Who have not been voting? Who do you want to appeal to line up deep? Who are you trying to get to the polls?
I want our 18-year-olds, our young professionals to get out to the polls and vote, because people are taking y'all for granted. You have the right. I need you to exercise that right. I need everybody to exercise that right. But our young adults, you need to go to the polls and vote. And like I said, early voting is still going on up until May 17th. Election day is May 21st. I'll be on the ballot 2 times. Travis Chambers, District 10 at large. Again, I'm from Columbus. I live Columbus. I breathe Columbus. And I need you to get me in office so we can make a difference together. God bless you and thank you.
Well, you've had it right here. That's Mr. Travis Chambers, and he's running for District 10 citywide for the Columbus City Council. And he says that he thinks that he's the one to make a difference. He told me that he knows some people know part of the town, but he know all the town. So we'll see. So, Mr. Chambers, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership.
Yeah. God bless. Okay, we're going to take another little break right here, and we come back with more visions now and more candidates on 92.1 Smooth R&B, the Suburb. Hope that you enjoyed the dessert as well as the meal.
Get ready to experience the most soul-stirring gospel celebration of the year. The Not a Bad Apple Gospel Celebration. Saturday, June 8th at St. Luke's Church in Columbus, Georgia. Featuring legendary gospel singer Deborah Snipes. David Hammond and the Chosen Disciples. The Clark Brothers. The Community Male Choir. And a very special guest all the way from Atlanta. Here comes Willie Clayton. With your ticket purchase, enjoy a sit-down meal, prestigious award show, and an unforgettable concert. Tickets are only $50. Available on Eventbrite.com with a $3 service charge and are tax deductible. Don't miss out on this divine experience. Reserve your seats now by calling 706-566-0602. 706-566-0602 to reserve your seats now. The Not a Bad Apple Gospel Celebration. Saturday, June 8th at St. Luke's Church in Columbus, Georgia. We want to see you there.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-708-3092. 800-708-3092. That's 800-708-3092.
Attorney advertised. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome, and each person's recovery depends on the facts and laws of each client's case.
They say dog fighting is illegal. I beg to differ. I know a dog when he fight is legal. He be biting these insurance companies, demanding what he want, telling them if he don't get it, he's gonna bite them. His name is Top Dog from Top Dog Law. He be taking your accident and turning it into money. He be getting top dollar. That's a lot of money. All from an accident, that's a lot of money. He could change your life. I've seen him do it. Seen him take nothing and turn it into something. Follow him on Instagram at Top Dog Law. It's TopDogLaw.com.
Welcome back to Visions Now, your supper club. And we have next with us today, Dr.
Patrick Leonard.
I knew Leonard, but Patrick, Patrick, that was the part I was trying trying to put out there, Dr. Patrick Leonard, and he's also a candidate for District 10 citywide here in Columbus, Georgia. And so, Dr. Leonard, your opening statement is why now? Why are you vying for this particular position?
Yeah, man. Why now? Because of the dire need, man. It's a tremendous need at this point. So what I'm going to be running on, Dr. Hood, is dealing with rent reduction, working with landlords, man, all throughout this city to reduce rent. We're also going to be working for workforce housing, according to the AMI, and those who are teachers, nurses, those who are part of the particular workforce, police officers, firefighters. We're going to try to do everything that we can, man, to try to provide affordable housing for them just as well. Another thing we're going to be trying to work on is economic development and trying to rebuild and do it the right way. Another major thing that we're going to be dealing with is the reinvestment and the revitalization of communities that have been deemed as obsolete in some people's eyes. A lot of people have overlooked these particular communities, but there's gifts, man. There's intrinsic talents within these communities. And so we're going to try to do everything that we can to galvanize these individuals and take these talents and put them on front stage.
Okay. Now, first question, I guess, is I don't know how much you know of the New Era Coalition.
Okay.
And of course, but we have 9 ministries, and they include, and that's one of the reasons that some people doing this right here. But we're saying we need a comprehensive plan because many of these things overlap.
Sure.
So we design a structure for that would accommodate that kind of coalescing, and that's why we say a coalition. So one thing is that we have a lot of young people who have had a life of crime, and they're coming back to, many of them coming back to Columbus out of prison, and they're being brought back in, but they're coming back into a greater extent, and they're coming back to the same thing that they left. And we believe in that, and this is one of the things that we like to find out where you stand with, is reentry programs and resources, not just program, but resources for adult and juvenile reentry in order to facilitate their community reintegration with proper legal mental health services for adjudicated individuals so that they don't come back trying to figure out how they're going to pay their probation fees. How they go. In other words, let's give them a framework so that they will have the resources so that we can integrate them back in with trades and skills so that they can be viable members of our society. So can you support that if you are elected to the city council?
Absolutely, man. In fact, man, I like how you said it, man. You should be in this seat over here where I'm at, man. I like
No.
that.
I learned. They told me a long time ago when I learned my trade in Detroit.
Okay.
And they said, and I had a choice.
Yeah.
Either I wanted to be a king or a kingmaker. I said I'd be a kingmaker.
Kingmaker.
Yeah, I don't want to be a king.
Well, I like your assessment. Actually, man, you talking about the issue of recidivism.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm trying to fight for. That make sure that these kids aren't going in and out of the jail system. So when you talk about reentry programs, and like you said, and also resources, you want to try to provide almost guard with a garrison, the mental capacity of these young people, that they don't go back to the jail system that they came from. Okay. So the way you approach the issue, you have to revitalize these particular communities, and you have to make sure that these young people that are coming out of the prison has programs. And I'm not just talking about just programs the way the status quo. I'm saying vocational and technical training programs, meaning that, if they're going to come out, some people come out on probation, you have to guarantee and almost enforce that they have to take somewhat of a trade.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Because what happened is that I go to prison now.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And you need to be able to, as a part of that probation, right now, you check in.
Yeah.
My thing is the part of the probation that they have to participate in our program for at least 9 months.
Absolutely.
At least 9 months.
Absolutely.
So that we can help them get back, really get their feet up on it, as opposed to, you check with the probation, but you trying to No. We can't leave that up to chance no more because you become more vulnerable to the issue. So so I appreciate that. The other one, now there's one thing that stuck out to me, the when I listened to you at the forum.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about gentrification.
Yeah.
And that's a part of kind of our thrust as well, is that community development, provisional resources for neighborhood beautification efforts and community pride development, environmental projects for economic inclusion of disadvantaged businesses with governmental contracts. Now, utilization of enterprise zones in the tax allocation district.
Mhm.
What can you, as a city council representative, how can you help our young people? How can you help us build our neighborhoods through the use of enterprise zones and tax allocation districts?
All right, you have to be strategic. In military warfare, man, there's a term denotatively means reconnaissance. It means you have to survey the land, you have to assess it, you have to know what's going on. So, for example, we have different divisions in our military. We have the Air Force, we have the Marines, we have the Army, and etc.
Right.
When you go to war,
So do we.
yeah,
As you know.
right. So when you go to war, you have to understand your ground troops first. You don't just send your ground troops out there first. Sometimes, man, you got to send it from the sky to lay down the groundwork. And then you send your troops. If you don't, man, you'll lose a lot of troops.
Right.
This issue of gentrification, Dr. Hood, is a real important issue when you talk about rebuilding the tax allocation or TAD. These tax allocation development things that you do.
Right.
They're trying to redevelop particular communities that are underdeveloped. But before you just go in there and start just putting up businesses and everything in there, you have to be careful, because if you're not strategic about how you go about doing it, you can cause gentrification, which means you go into these neighborhoods, you rebuild these neighborhoods. People who are renters, 43% of people that live in our city are rent.
Right.
Guess what the landlord gonna do? They're gonna up the rent.
Right.
And so once they up the rent, they're gonna push all the poor people out of those communities.
And that's it. That's the point I want you to address.
Sure.
See, because our thing is that you're not doing no development if you're not engaging the people who actually already live there.
There you go.
It messes with me when
There
you
you go.
when you see bringing in foreigners and other people.
Yeah.
And the people who need the job, they could dig a ditch.
Sure.
They can move brick. I mean,
Sure.
So my point is that how do you governmentally, how do you get them connected that in order to build in these areas, you must not replace the people or relocate the people, but you must actually engage the people there to stabilize them.
Affordable housing. See what happens. You want to make sure that you keep a roof over them folks' head. Affordable housing. You're working with these landlords for rent reduction.
So is the housing authority have something to do with that?
Yeah, HACG. Yep, HACG.
So what would you do to the housing authority in order for them to become an asset in this type of initiative?
That's a great question, man. Listen, the HACG is an arm and a leg of the city council, your city government, your governing body. They are considered to be administratively, they're designed to do what we need them to do. And so to work with landlords, you can issue revenue bonds. You can have individuals that's actually able to fund these particular projects, and you can make sure that HACG rebuild in those areas, beautify these areas with housing for these people to be able to live in these communities. So guess what? If you're going to rebuild that economy and rebuild South Columbus, you have to make sure that the people who's actually living there can go out there and spend money. I mean, think about how it helps the economy, man, when you basically bring down rent. It creates a demand.
Right, because right now, as you know, obviously there's money being spent because people are getting rich off of poor people.
There you go.
So therefore, we need to get those people who are getting money off of these poor people. They need to reinvest in some of these projects. How would you go about getting some of these we'll just be straight East Indian business people who make it, we appreciate the business,
right,
but how do we get them to reinvest in projects like you're talking about?
Well, I think really before we even get there, I think this can be a legislative thing, Dr. Hood, because watch this.
Even before they start doing it with their heart.
Yeah, because what you have, because what you have is public-private partnerships. That we have a very unique phenomenon here in our city. And with these public-private partnerships that we can do, they reinvest into particular communities. And
I'm familiar with that part.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just saying that just on a very basic level. I mean these things, they're not they can be going on simultaneously.
Sure.
But I just believe that we have to have more accountability with our neighborhood businesses, reinvesting, providing some jobs for our youth, investing in nonprofits in the area while we're doing these things.
I'll tell you how you do that. You give tax cuts, you get subsidies, you give tax breaks to
Are they already there?
That's small, but they're not given to them.
Okay, now so again, why aren't they giving it to them?
Because they want to play grounds and nepotism, and that we just have to understand that in business. So you have to make sure that if you have to support your small businesses. These small businesses, man. 35 million of these small businesses employ over 70-80% of the people in our country. Right. So Dr. Hood, you have to get these subsidies, because guess what? Whenever you give,
I guess this is my only point. And we have 2 minutes left. Say, for example, the government doesn't do anything but the bullet pulpit and the knowledge of those things that we can still. No, I don't like the idea that we can't do nothing unless they do it. No, I think that there's things that we can do with leadership from people in our government, the city council people, who can cherry pick those resources to get certain things done.
Yeah, but you got to understand that your city council, has two responsibilities now: legislative and administrative.
Oh yeah, I get
All right.
it.
So you have to know that when it comes to that, we need more push from the top. All right. So yeah, you want to get the people involved and community
I
involved.
understand
Absolutely.
that for so long we've been waiting and waiting. I just don't want our future totally dependent upon that. I think you can get some steroids from that.
Yeah.
But I just think that's
But
something
Dr.
that
Hood,
people need to
look
do.
at like this. Anything that's been built in this city,
Right.
it had to take an injection from the government. Everything.
Okay.
Okay. And once they give that injection, then you begin to operate on your own.
Mhm.
But see, if you haven't given me the injection, man, if you haven't even given me, so you tell me to tie up my bootstraps, but man, give me some boots.
Oh yeah, we're together. But my only point is that we got to have a grassroots momentum of us using our dollars in different kind of way with support. Again, was it community development corporations?
Sure.
Those type of entities, yes. My point is that I don't want to wait for 6 votes or whatever it is before something can be done. I'm just talking about a person being in that bulletproof position. You still going to have access and knowledge of resources that you can bring. Right?
Absolutely. And that's what
Right.
I'm saying. You have to have the resources that everyone who started businesses, Dr. Hood, had an injection. They had some kind of subsidy, some kind of grant to start their business. They had a startup. So,
well, you got to have the business first, but you don't get started. I mean, from my experience, you got to have something already going. Then they're not just give you something. I want to do a bit. No, you got to have something going. Then they inject it. Then that helps the flower.
right, you got to have an entrepreneur spirit. You got to have acumen.
Yeah,
Right? You got to have
and that's all I'm saying.
Right, no doubt about it. But you got to have the injection.
Yeah.
And then once you get the injection and you give these tax cuts, you get tax breaks, it's assumed then they can hire more people.
Right.
If I'm making it more easier for you to run your business and I'm allowing you to expand within your business, Dr. Hood, guess what?
Right.
You can hire more people.
Right.
You can even pay your employees more.
Right.
Okay. But if you want to pick and choose who you want to give these subsidies to, that's a problem.
Right. Well, there's no problem about that. So I think we both agree on it.
Yeah.
But the question becomes this also is that, okay, so you just say, for example, obviously, if you win, then of course, this is a no-brainer. You already know what you're going to do, right? If you don't win, we're saying is that, are you going to have some time for New Era Coalition to do this, continue this going with the New Era Coalition?
No doubt about it.
Okay, all right. That's what we want to know. Okay, you got 30 seconds once you wrap up who you are, what you are, and why.
Dr. Hood, you the man. I appreciate you. Really for having me on here, man. I appreciate your questions. Listen, I'm Dr. Leonard. Once again, man, we're working for affordable housing. To work with these landlords.
Don't stop. Don't stop, man. You got us hyped now, so don't leave us out here now.
I ain't gonna leave you out here, man. Right. I got you.
You're gonna be a council representative where you down there or not. You still gonna be a representative
hey,
now.
I promise you.
All right. Okay,
so
I'm just
we're
saying.
gonna be working with these communities, man. We're gonna do revitalization. So we
all
there,
right,
man.
All right.
We there.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Patrick Leonard, Dr. Patrick Leonard, no doubt about it. I love his understanding of government, and I love his understanding of how we can revitalize our neighborhoods. And I think our grassroots community needs leaders like him that can articulate it in a real way and with the enthusiasm that he has. And of course, much success. But like I say, is that this is a moment, but we want you for the movement.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So I just want to let you know. Okay, Dr. Patrick Leonard, he's running for District 10 citywide. And of course, the voting is going on right now, they tell me. And of course, you're listening now to Visions Now, your supper club. We're the one that been loving you all the time. These new lovers, hey, we've been loving you all the time. We're the one that love you. 92.1 Smooth R&B. Patrick Leonard here with us today. New for the New Era Coalition. Yeah, you be posing. Yeah. All right, no doubt. I know. He do be posing though. Hey, no, man.
That'd be the wife.
Hey, that's what you
I'm
said.
blaming on my
That's what you
wife.
said on Facebook too. I thought that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, we would like to thank, and that is his real name, Rocky Marsh, Dr. Rocky Marsh, for being with us today, and again with our New Era Coalition. People's Platform is what we call it. Okay. And of course, hopefully you had a chance to read it. These are some of these that are more relevant to your particular race in particular. And just give us 30 seconds to just introduce yourself, okay, and as to why you have chosen at this time, chosen this race to jump in to try to represent Columbus, Georgia.
Well, I want to first thank you for the opportunity to give all these candidates ability to share their platform, because I first believe that all of our citizens deserve a good choice of options for the next leadership. And my name is Dr. Rocky Marsh. Yes, my real name is Rocky. I have to tell people that all the time. But I'm a 10-year resident here in Columbus, Georgia. I'm retired from the military happily, and I've been here for 10 years doing a bunch of work in the city. And I was just telling someone in the hallways that this opportunity kind of came. I got here, started doing the work. It led to something else, doing something else. So I didn't plan for this, but I'm here and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we're about to have.
Okay. Now, as you know, the New Era Coalition, and of course, you're not a stranger because you have been with us through, yes, I think, I know at least 2 or 3 of the sessions, yes, that we went through. And of course, our main, everything that we do at the end of the day is directed toward the short term to prevent community gun violence, correct, among our young people. And not only that, though, but to provide a positive activity and alternative pathway, not just saying, stop doing this, this is horrible, yes it is, but what are we doing to actually create an alternative pathway to them? Children are using what they got. Correct. So we got to provide some other alternatives for them. Now, so one of the things that we want to find out is, as you know, I've always felt, I was a previous member of the board of Liberty Theater from its inception, the second era of Liberty Theater, from the reconstruction of it. And one of the things that we had always wanted to do was we saw it as being a crime prevention. We used to do the hip hop summit there. We used to do the Kwanzaa celebration there, and many other events that really brought in all types of young people. I mean, like the ones out there now wilding out, we had them in the hip hop summit not cussing. Correct. I mean, because we required it, but we also put an incentive like, look, we're gonna give you some opportunities to perform out of town. We're gonna provide you be able to go into the studio. In other words, we gave them incentives to do the right thing. So my point is this: is that it really hurt many people, and it came up many times because we saw the opportunity of socializing, inculcating our youth into our culture. We don't have that incubator in the place. We don't have, where's our Spring Opera House? Where's our River Center? We don't have that. So we're saying that the Liberty Theater, we feel, need to be returned, for as management is concerned, to the citizens under the interdenominational ministerial line. Now the facility, hey, the city, they take care, like they take care of the Springer. They take care of the River Center. They take care of all these other things, but they don't decide on who's on the board. They don't decide who's managing and developing the programs. That should not be government, because that's we want that to stay in the private sector. So the first question is, as it relates to that, is that cultural, arts, and recreation, the reopening of all recreation centers, in particular in at-risk areas, fully staffed with activities targeting 14 and 19-year-olds, encouraging them to participate in community crime prevention efforts, reinstituted the Liberty Theater community-based board of directors to include members recommended by the city council and members selected by the interdenominational ministerial lines to ensure programs and activities which are relevant to all congregations and sectors of the Black community. So the question becomes, can you fight for that?
One, yes. That short answer is yes.
Okay.
The second short answer is I support that strongly. And then I'm going to the third why I strongly support it. One, I see after school programs or cultural programs, community programs being a strategic step that's necessary to reduce crime. When we talk about crime, I'm not going to stay on crime, but when we talk about crime,
we got it.
But it's not just a one solution problem. It's more of a strategic approach by eliminating things that contribute to crime. When we're talking about programs, community programs, I feel they are essential for keeping our youth engaged and giving them the opportunities that you speak about. I grew up in the Parks and Rec area. I grew up going to the parks, enjoying these programs. I participated on many, and many of those experiences stay with me today. So I do support them, but I'm sticking to what I said before. I support it, and the answer is yes.
Okay. Now the other one in the law enforcement area is that improve police and community trust by creating a public safety oversight board with authority to hold law enforcement accountable, thus increasing the mutual trust between police and affected citizens. It's a requirement to mitigate the distrust and the decline in citizen and law enforcement trust here in Columbus, Georgia. We are highly supportive of the development of a new non-intrusive trust relationship between citizen and law enforcement. It's not law enforcement up here and citizens down here. No, it's an equal partnership that we feel needs to be accountable here in order to assure the necessary relationship to stop our neighborhood decay into crime, creation of block clubs and teen CERT programs, community emergency response team program with Homeland Security, will also be a blessed first step for a new era for One Columbus. So the question becomes, do you support more accountability? The citizen feeling like they have some control over how people are handling the crime issues in their community. They want to be a part of it, but right now it seems like we feel like we that not only are the children under that part, and what you call we having cameras all over town. Surveillance. It ain't just the kids. Everybody feel under surveillance. So my point is that will you fight against the surveillance of the whole city? And the problem they said is that the community is not trusting them. Indeed, we think this is the way. It's like this. I can trust you to work on my air conditioning if I can hold you accountable for what you don't do.
Correct.
And that's my point, is that can you support that idea?
So I want to talk about one thing that you mentioned first is the civilian, not the personnel board, but the board. I agree with that. One thing that our beloved Pop Barnes, rest in peace, is that he was championing that board that involved citizens' involvement about oversight. When we had,
well, what happened then? If
I don't know. I attended the first two sessions. Okay, then it was postponed. It took a vote,
and I never heard nobody else
exactly.
So I mean, God bless the dead, but I'm just saying.
I wish that board would have came to fruition because I strongly believed in what it was intended to do. Correct. Now to the second part of the surveillance. I understand that because I've lived a life of being surveilled, so I'm kind of just used to it. But I don't
want to get. I'm used to it too. Yeah, but I don't want to get used to it.
What I am for and what against is improper use of it when it's not used for the productive means for which it was intended. So whenever we find times when it's not used properly, then yes, I'd be against it.
But this is my problem. It's like the Tuskegee experiment. This to me. The way to prevent it from misuse is to stop it. Because if I don't trust the people who looking at me, if I can't trust them in my neighborhood, I certainly don't want to trust them on surveillance.
Well, let me go to that because community police community relations is thoroughly important to me. One thing I wish we would do is more recruitment of the community in our police force, because I think if we had more people who from our neighborhood policing our neighborhood, we would get less of the contentious events that we've experienced or been talking about.
Well, one I've over the years I've been one to train law enforcement in law enforcement academies, and what I found is that there's a culture in there that even if you got on there, many times that culture will overwhelm you. So the accountability has come from the community. I think there needs to be more investment so the community is stronger with their neighborhood block clubs, like many other communities, the neighborhood watches that are part of the block club, teaching our children how to be security. In that, I think the investment in the people as opposed to investment in surveillance is the best way to go. And yes, we still need to have more of us there, but that's because, listen, I'm going to see you at church. I will see you at the put. In other words, that because I'm gonna have that accountability. But my point is that it does not replace the fact that we as a community need to be more empowered to manage and control the dynamics of our community through resources.
So,
but again, we can go to another one.
Okay.
Okay. Another one is the notion of reentry programs, adult and juvenile reentry programs. We need 2,000 to 3,000 jobs for our young people. Not 100 jobs for the summer. It's almost distasteful to even suggest
I'm gonna jump in there
that's something
because I thoroughly believe in this. When it was proposed the first time, I commended the program. I stood up at 2 sessions with the mayor, and on 2 occasions, I was personally asked that this program be extended all year round and that it be a gateway or platform for other opportunities for our youth who do not have direction to get into the workforce and become productive members of society. So this year, when we voted on the budget, that is something that I would love to fight for, to get more funding for programs and those cultural programs, because I believe an investment in that is investment together. They are. That is not just an investment in people and programs, but that's an investment in community and more productive contributing members of the community.
Right. And I think that if you invest a little money into block club development. I've been there before in other cities. When the block club is strong, the neighborhood is strong. So therefore, then the law, if something go wrong, the block club get the block club captain. They'll tell you exactly what. But if you don't invest, but people like you invest $60,000 to $80,000 in a car to the police, but you want other people to volunteer. That's not an equal fight.
Correct.
Okay, so my point is that we got to get some investment over here. And don't tell me about the Crime Prevention Board when none of that money has done anything and nobody can even show you. And matter of fact, governmental agencies get more money than the citizens do. So we need to reorganize that Crime Prevention Board. What do you think about that?
I agree with it. Let me tell you one thing that I gave our own board as a recommendation is to better target where we fund. It's not just giving money out, but we need to give money to programs that you're speaking about. We need to fund more community direct based programs. And that's what I'd be more in favor of. So I gave our board a recommendation of
what board it is.
You talking about the Crime Prevention Board? I serve on the Crime Prevention Board.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I didn't know what time. So
I'm glad you tell me.
There you go. Yeah. So I've given our board how to better have a stronger impact of this source of support, because it can be the gateway between the government and the community. To speaking what you're talking about is funding more of those community-based programs.
And all of them need to be trained. See, my point is that if you're getting a dollar, you need to be trained on how to be a part of this coalition, because otherwise you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, we're doing our thing, but crime is still growing.
Correct.
But if you're being trained on how we're going to coalesce, and once a month we're going to meet and say, okay, how you doing in your area? How am I doing in this area? Okay, look at the matrix on these. That's not being done. Okay, the favoritism and all that, we can get back to that as we get this problem managed. But right now, we need to do the right thing for the right reason. So you got 30 seconds, 3 minutes. Okay. Okay. So what do you think about that? How do we go about actually getting a handle on transforming or restructuring this Crime Prevention Board?
Well, I just want to echo back to what I was saying is, so what I did was I requested a public records request from the police, because one thing that I was interested in is looking at data, where crimes are happening and what crimes are happening. Because looking at the trends of what crimes are happening, where they're happening, can give you a better indicator of what things you need to support. After looking at some data, I would be more in favor in supporting some of those community-based programs, specifically after-school programs in certain areas where there is no rec center, no community center, nothing to go to. I would be in sponsor. When we talk about total program, I would be in favor of just buying an abandoned house, turning it into a community center, allowing kids to come there and do stuff. I'll be in favor of supporting something like that in areas that do not have those things nearby. So when we talk about, renovating, restructuring, that is how I would like to revise,
right,
and re-strategize.
I appreciate that. Well, Mr. Marsh, I guess and I'm a subject matter expert in this community violence thing. I'm not novice, or just how I feel about it. I'm saying that it's too little, too late for that. There's a culture out here that's in its second generation, maybe of criminality. You can't change that just within a household. We got to have a comprehensive. That's why we got 9 ministries. We got to have a comprehensive, collective way that we're going to address massive numbers of children with a common type of theme in terms of their commitment and working in that community collectively.
So I would agree with you. We do have a cultural problem too. That
that's
if someone has been the issue before and now their offspring, they get it. But the approach is going to be just as long, just as hard. We're not going to, I don't believe, in my personal opinion, that we can come up with a problem that's going to get it addressed in one generation. I believe we need to plant the seeds, support the program that you and I are talking about right now, and then we have to track it, reinforce it, and grow it.
Okay. I'm going to share this with you because of your military background to try to make it simple for you.
Okay.
You ever heard of the Marshall Plan?
Yes.
Tell me, what was it?
Which Marshall Plan? Because I know it too.
Well, tell me whichever one you choose.
Well, just give me the one
that redeveloped Europe after the war.
That's
that
not
Marshall
the one.
Plan.
That's not the one that I was thinking. I'm thinking about something.
Well, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
In other words, my point is that when you go into a country, they have a community development. There's a comprehensive plan.
Correct. What
I'm trying to say is that this gradual. I'm trying to say there's the forest is on fire. We at this point we got to get all hands on deck, and we got to invest in the people who are impacted the greatest. And I understand I did, but my point is that we need bold action now. Otherwise, we're losing. Okay, and more of our young people are going to be locked up in prison, and there more criminal behavior because prison does not rehabilitate any of them. And that's what part of the problem is right now. We got to be able to get all of them engaged in crime prevention. We know how to do that. The coalition know how to do that. We have the expertise to know how to do that. Okay. So my point is that we got to up that. We can't use the fire hose. We got to get a fire truck and some fire hydrants.
No bucket brigade.
No. This thing is serious here, and again, more and more serious. And neighborhoods are decaying because of the breakdown in community consolidation.
So I do agree with there's a significant problem. The only thing I differ with is I think you use the word like too late. It's not. I don't think it's too late totally. But nonetheless, one thing you and I will agree on. There's a significant issue that needs to be addressed. The only thing I would differ on, the solution won't come fast.
But see, that's because you're not expert in that area.
Okay.
See, that's the only thing I'm trying to say. That, and I'm saying is that.
And so let me try.
Let me just say. I'm not. It's not a put. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that, as you know, the coalition is not a program coalition. Okay. It's a movement. We understand that even when you start getting ahead of, you can't stop there. This is doing things a certain kind of way from now on. This is not that kind of vibe. But I'm trying to say that you got to make an impact right away, though. So again,
my question would be, if elected to be a city council, one thing I will ask you is, what would you like to see? What would you like to see?
We got to talk about that off record. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. So
when we continue this conversation, that's the question that I would ask.
But I'll give you the answer already when you go back to the comments.
Okay,
it will be the same answer.
Okay,
that it's organized, and we got to organize on a broad scale. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like the civil rights movement. Okay. It got to be a stop the violence movement, not just marching, but actually getting people engaged in their own solutions. Okay. So So again, we're going to go on and wrap it up here again. Mr. Marsh, I appreciate it. Always have a good discussion with. And again, I consider you to be a resource for the coalition, and so we will continue this. But again, we got to up the game. We cannot.
I get it. And listen, I've enjoyed this. I wish there was more spirited conversation like this to address this thing. And I know we're trying to wrap it up, so I'll make sure you don't go over time. But I've enjoyed my time here. I've enjoyed the conversation. This is what we need to be talking to more often, not just when it's a political season, not just when it's election season, but this is something that you lead and that I appreciate ongoing. So my name is Dr. Rocky Marsh. I'm on our ballot twice for our special election, as well as our general election for the seat of city council at large, which means it's citywide, which means everybody gets a voice and everybody gets to vote for this position. So I want to urge everyone who's watching and listening to get to the poll. Right now, early voting is open till May 17th. But if you don't get there early vote, get there on election day, May the 21st.
Okay, you heard it here. Thank you, Mr. Marsh. Again, this is our New Era Coalition first forum addressing the issue of gun violence among our young people and providing a new way for them to survive and to prosper in our community. I'm Dr. Jill Lehman Hood, your host, executive producer of Vision 9 Supper Club, and of course, the coordinator for the New Era Coalition here in Columbus, Georgia. Have a good evening right here, 92.1 Smooth R&B. We've been loving you.